Hello indie gaming fans, it is the ex-hardcore gamer here, and I'm going to talk to you today about Dice Legacy. Dice Legacy is a game that has quite a bit of the user-defined tags on Steam, so it's going to check a lot of boxes for a lot of different people. We're talking this game can be a city builder, a survival, a board game, a roguelike. It's got all kinds of different things going on at the same time. Even the official description itself says that Dice Legacy is a dice-based survival city builder set on a mysterious ring world. All kinds of mouthfuls going on there. Now, as for the actual premise of Dice Legacy, it's that you have a ship that has crashed onto the shore of an uncharted continent. From there, it's all about having your base and then gathering resources to expand your settlement and figuring out what's going on in this particular world. As I'm sure that you can figure out, this is all done through rolling dice that all serve different purposes based on what you're trying to do. When you first start playing, you have only a handful of dice that only do the basic abilities such as being able to gather the resources, build simple buildings, and defend. Whenever you roll the dice, there is a certain pool of abilities that can possibly show up. As you advance through the scenario, then you have to decide if you want to be able to change what specific pool they can pull from, making them specialized units, or making those units stronger. I'm not going to get into every mechanic that this game has, but there is definitely a lot of depth and a lot of strategy that will be involved to figure out what is the best way that you as the player would like to play it. While it may feel like a board game at times, it is not a turn-based game. This does play out in real time, though you can speed up, slow down, and even pause the action. Gamers familiar with real-time strategy games will feel right at home as they're using their resources to train more units or build structures that give them more abilities. Before I mentioned that everything is taking place on a ring world, and essentially what that means is that when you're scrolling the map, everything is rotating. Think like being on the inside of a tire. It's kind of hard to explain, but if you look in the video, you'll see what I'm talking about. When you start off playing Dice Legacy, you're only going to have one scenario that you're going to be able to play. But once you complete that scenario, it unlocks a whole bunch more for you to complete. In the original basic scenario that you start off with, you go through both summer and winter cycles. In the summertime, everything's prosperous, but in the wintertime, you might have dice freeze where you can't use them, and certain crops won't even grow. I bring this up because a perfect example of what types of challenges the new scenarios can bring is one where it's always the winter time, which makes things very difficult, or another one where the crops grow at a slower rate. Each of the scenarios can also be played with multiple difficulty levels. To top it all off, once you complete a scenario, you unlock new heroes, and these heroes will all start with different types of dice. Now throw in the fact that events are randomized each time you play this game, and you have a total package of ways to mix and match gameplay to have high replay value. I literally found myself spending nearly 8 hours going over that first scenario over and over again. There are so many different mechanics and ways to play that I was always learning something new and I wanted to see how it would work. Graphics in Dice Legacy are very well detailed and nicely animated, but there's not a whole lot going on, so it's pretty easy to run even on basic hardware. If you have something as old as the NVIDIA GTX 660 or the AMD HD 7750, you'll be able to play this game. That's just the minimum requirements, but the recommended is still only going to be a GTX 1060 or Radeon RX 580, which are pretty aged cards at this point. I'm still rocking my 2060, and at that point, I was able to run at the 2K resolution and average about 90 to 100 frames per second consistently. With those frame rates, it was really cool to see the water and ocean flowing, the fires going, and enemies fighting. On the music side of things, you have the usual orchestra-style type music that will change based on what's going on in the game at that moment. So in other words, when a battle is about to break out, it's going to be a different style of music than when you're just being lazy and doing all the farming on your land. It's pretty well done, and for somebody that's a fan of that style of music, I feel you'll enjoy it, but it's not really my cup of tea, so I found myself listening to other things while I played. So if you're a PC gamer that's looking for a more leisurely experience, at least on the easier difficulty levels, Dice Legacy might be for you, especially if you're a fan of real-time strategy or board games. I guess my only major complaint that I could have against Dice Legacy is I feel like this is something that screams that it should be a multiplayer game, and unfortunately it's single player only. Fans of chance and strategy should definitely give it a shot. Before I go, I do want to take the time right now to thank our indie warriors. Mitchell Hall, Bunny, Kevilo, Bill Tcast, Christian Cruz, Strychnine, Chris Jackson, Nathan Moore, Peach, Adriana Amato, CJR, Falco Lombardi, C. Coyle, Skeptism, Jen Rose, Jesse, CPM, Julian Kolbus, and JRS the 8th. I want to thank every one of you for your support and everything that you do for us here at I Dream of Indie, as well as indie gaming in general. Thanks again for watching, and if you'd like to join them, you can also become an Indie Warrior, and all the information is in the description below. Until next time, I've been the X Hardcore Gamer, and enjoy gaming.